Okay, Patrick, wonderful class. I know it was a bit challenging. What we're going into now is the applied theory. Applied theory is the theory that we don't use necessarily on sheets of paper or out of books, right? The applied theory is the theory that you have to use on the spot in real life situations. Example: if you are playing with other people, um, whether you go to like an open mic or to a party or there's a group of friends playing or people that you don't even know who are musicians that invite you to play with them. This is when you would use this type of theory. Now you are now familiar with what I'm going to kind of review. Um, this is how you would use it. The four-step theory. This is the four-step sequence that I use. All right, so if someone says, okay, the song that we're going to do is in B major, all you do is you take your pinky and you find B major on your sixth string or you find it on your first string, right? And then you count 4 frets to your left, right? That is your relative minor. The reason I'm saying relative minor because the relative minor is synonymous or the equivalent of that would be your pentatonic. So when I'm saying relative minor, I'm also mainly talking about your soloing scale, which is the scale that you would use for your feeling when you're playing your solos or improvising. You're going to do that when you're playing with other people, and it's like a jam session. That is what I mean by your relative minor. You can also use that relative minor as a natural minor if you want to add some kind of a certain feeling to your solos. But mainly, when I'm talking about your sixth mode, I'm talking about that soloing scale, which would be your pentatonic. Okay, so let's go back and say, okay, we're playing in B major. B major, the key of the song is in B major. You put your pinky on that B, which is your seventh fret, and you proceed to count 4 frets down, including that seventh fret. So 7, 6, 5, 4. You're going to be on your fourth fret, and that's going to give you the G sharp. So you'll be playing either G sharp natural minor, or you'll play a G sharp pentatonic. Right? So right? So that's what that would look like, okay? So knowing this, the reason I always say relative minor, natural minor, or pentatonic along with your major. Let me backtrack for a second. If the song is in G sharp minor, if it's in a minor key, 2 things. One's very simple. If the song is in G sharp minor or whatever minor it's in, all you do is you find that on your sixth string or your first string. And you don't have to count to your left. You stay where you are and you play a pentatonic. All right? Because the minor is the pentatonic, right? The minor is the pentatonic. That's your sixth mode. So if you play right from if the song is in G sharp minor, you are already there and you can do what you're going to do. If you want to add the major scale of a little different kind of feeling to it, all you're going to do is this. You go in reverse. You count 4 steps, right? You put your pinky on that, right? Now that's going to be the major that you're playing in. And here's what you're going to do from there. You bring your pinky down, you play. That's it, right? That's your major scale. Now watch this. You can do that, but what I would do is I would put my middle finger on, I would count 4 steps to my right and put my middle finger on the B. And then I also have, and then I have, it right there, right? You can also do this. Go back to the pentatonic. Why did I do that? Here's the thing. Now we're going to fast forward to what I was going to say before, is that I always use either, I'm always speaking in the terms of relative minor and major. Those two, all right? Because your relative minor, that's your 6th mode, right? You have 8 modes, okay? The 7th mode is, they call it, or the mode, the 7th mode, if you get a chord out of that, it's going to be diminished. And what diminishment in this structure, what it means is that you're either fading you're fading into another degree. All right, so that's kind of like a tension, almost like a tension note, where that specific mode is a mode where it's going to provide a certain kind of a tension, where you will want to go to the next degree, which will bring you into the 8th degree, which is going to give you more of a resolution, right? Like more of like you're completing something, right? But if you stay on that 7th mode, you don't have that completion. You have a tension there. It's tension, right? So it's diminishment. You're either kind of losing strength of one part, but you're gaining strength in another. So that's a weird position that you're in, which is why that mode gives us a diminished chord structure, okay? That's when you take that 1, 3, and 5 out of that mode, all right? So you're here on the B, middle finger being on the B, right? When you do the scale from B major, your 7th note there is an A sharp, okay? Now, that 7th mode, if you go a whole step and you're in your pentatonic, that's your G sharp, right? That's going to give you your pentatonic right there. Now, the pentatonic, that's more of a scale that gives you more range to play with feeling, okay? The natural minor is the relative minor. That's like the arrangement of a more serious type of interpretation of that major scale. So you have it gets a little bit serious when you switch up to a natural minor. What I'm saying here is, if you look at your, let's say this is the major key that you're playing, right? While the 7th mode gives you like a feeling of diminishment and fading away, the 6th mode is like another aspect of the structure. It's like another half of that structure, okay? So here's the thing. If this is the major structure, this part is the major structure, and it gives you like a strong upbeat kind of a mood, where this part is maybe like you could think of it as like the feminine aspect of that structure. That's going to give you somewhat of a more serious or a different kind of mood to the pattern itself. So to make this easier, here's what we're going to do. We're going to work off the C major scale. And to get the concept very clearly, you're going to play both the C major and you're going to play an A natural minor, or you can play the A pentatonic. Okay? We're going to start with the A natural minor first, so you get a really solid understanding of how this works. This is how you're going to practice the theory of why we use major and relative minor or natural minor. Watch. 1 octave of the C major scale. 1 octave of the A natural minor or the relative minor of the C major. Now, this is going to be like male and female, masculine and feminine. They're going to now have a conversation. I'm going to play something in the pattern of the C major. It doesn't have to be straight away C major. Just right? Now, that was the natural minor played with the C major. Here's what I mean about a solid difference. When I say relative minor, a lot of the times what I want you to do this exercise and really feel the difference, your relative minor is going to be the pentatonic that holds the natural minor in it, okay? We're going to go into why I say the pentatonic holds the natural minor in it, because the pentatonic holds all of the notes in it. And there's a reason I'm saying that. But let's keep it simple. I'm going to do the pentatonic with the C major, right? Okay, so C major, I'm playing, just expressing different notes. A pentatonic. C major. A pentatonic. See? You get the idea. Okay, so there was a communication going on between those two scales or two modes. So there's a lot of differences in the perspectives in your approach to that structure. They might be all of the notes in that scale, but it's played in a different way when you approach different points of that scale. Okay, so the blues pattern or the pentatonic scale, I'll say, okay, because that pentatonic is widely used. It's not just blues. The blues that pentatonic is used. You know, it's a Middle Eastern thing. It's Eastern, Far East. They use the scale. African, they use the scale. This is a scale that goes way back. Okay, but it holds all of the notes. That's for another class. But you can hear the difference in the communication using the C major and that pentatonic, right? Those are the two main approaches that you want to use when you're dealing with theory, when you're playing with people, or you're trying to figure out what to play over any rhythm. you look at it in those two parts, because those two parts make up one whole. All right? It's a very, very important thing to understand. There's a lot of things going on with your pentatonic and your major, or your relative minor and your major. It's one thing, okay? So we'll get more into that. Everything else, you're doing really well, but this part is going to be a bit challenging for you. All right, so as you know, your homework is showing me any kind of method that you can come up with. If you're put on the spot and someone says, we're going to do the song in, I don't know, F sharp major, okay? What do? You know, what are you going to play, right? So hopefully you'll really start to get this. And I think you already got it, but send me some examples of what you come up with. All right. Thank you very much. Stay dedicated, man. You're doing a fantastic job. All right. I will see you on Thursday. God bless.